So I've already finished the video, but before we start today's video, go ahead, hit that like button, comment down below, subscribe, and if you haven't already, go follow my Instagram at _octane_media_. Let's get on with the video. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the videos. You guys see this goofy little fur ball on the side of my head? These are our new mics. I got these so our audio would be the exact same across whatever we're filming on that day. So if we're on the iPhone, it'll sound like this. If we're on the GoPro, it'll sound like this. And on the off chance we film on the big camera, the DSLR, it'll sound like this. So our audio should remain consistent. It's something I personally have disliked, but now we should have a fix for that. I don't know if it'll always be up here. I might tag it to the shirt or even put it on the bill of my cap. But welcome back. With that all out of the way, we got some stuff to fix on the S2K. It died on me today, actually. Just randomly, I pulled into the driveway and all of a sudden was no more. But now it starts back up, so I have nothing to chase and diagnose. No engine codes, and there weren't really any symptoms. I pulled straight into the driveway, shut itself off, wouldn't turn back on. With that being said, we also have a turbo gasket to do. Our downpipe, it keeps blowing out the softer gasket, so I got a nice metal beveled gasket we can use. And then we got to get our AFR gauge mounted up in its permanent position. Well, let's go ahead and get her pulled off to the side of the shop, and then we can actually test how well the noise canceling works on here for the wind and for the car itself. Cool thing I just found out, with the link button, I can actually turn recording on and off, so I can start and stop videos. That's pretty cool. I could set up my camera and walk away, and you guys could still hear me, and then I could activate the camera and I don't have to walk back over and change clips. So I guess for this test we're gonna do it with noise canceling off. Seems like it's picking up quite a bit from the receiver end. I'm gonna go ahead, turn it off, see if I can activate noise canceling. Try again. Actually, we'll do that once everything's done. I don't want this to get too hot, because then I'm not gonna want to touch it. Okay, quick thing. We figured out how to activate our noise canceling. Now everything around me should have gotten quieter. Not that there was much going on to begin with, but now it should just pretty much solely be my voice at the moment. I think I might need to get a tripod or a gimbal. It's kind of awkward to hold the phone with the receiver in it. So, something to address at a later date. But let's get the hood popped. Let's get everything taken apart, and then we'll move to the interior, get our AFR and boost gauge wired. It's wired already. Let's get it set up, because I'm tired of having it roll around the cabin, in the cab of the car, and this will just keep it from getting beat up. One symptom we have that is a telltale sign that that gasket is failing is all that soot just coming out from the back of the turbo. It's spraying. It needs to be taken care of. And then I wanted to check back here and make sure we're still good here. Seems to be that we are. So our big spot, what we're going to focus on, this guy right here. Easy job. We're just going to remove 5 bolts. We'll re-Loctite them, that way they don't back out. And if you couldn't smell it, you can definitely see it. So I'm going to go grab the gasket. It's just a typical like T3 turbo 5-bolt gasket. Pretty easy to come across, $7 on eBay, free shipping. So it's that simple. Let me know what you guys think of the audio so far. If you like it, great because these were not cheap. If not, then that really sucks for me. So here's our typical 5-bolt flange T3 gasket. Go ahead, throw this on. We'll make sure it seals up really good. And then we can go ahead and start on the inside and move to retuning the car. So we're just taking off those 5-bolt bolts themselves. Super easy. This isn't going to be anything hard or out of the ordinary as far as being hard to do in most cases. This turbo sits right up top, so super easy to get to. Also, there is a lawnmower running in the background, so if you can't hear it or if you can barely hear it, that's pretty impressive. Anyways, there's still a couple things. There's quite a lot, not just a couple. Still some things we got to do to this car. I would like to install an oil cooler. I would like to keep everything as cool as I possibly can, and for me to do so, an oil cooler is part of the equation, as well as a new radiator. This radiator has been through its paces. Somebody spray painted it. The previous owner being that somebody. Oh, another thing, I can walk over here and you can still hear me. I can still have conversations with you. Granted, they're one-sided, but I can have them. So the way we're going to do this without dropping the downpipe is remove all but one bolt, put our new gasket in the correct orientation, which would be like this. So the way that's going to work, this corner is going to go in first. We'll put one bolt through that end, then we'll take off the final bolt that's holding in the old gasket, and then we don't have to drop the downpipe. It stays in place, makes less work. Just a couple tips and tricks to make life a little bit easier for you. That way you don't have to get up under the car in this situation. Super easy. That being said, that first bolt that you are going to put in, you will have to take back out after you get the other 4 in and add Loctite to that. You don't want these backing out. Ask me how I know. I'm sure you could make a guess. So, old gasket right here. And she's pretty trash, dude. It looks like the gasket separated through the inside. I've never had really good luck with these like multi-layer mesh gaskets. They've always fallen apart on me. I've never had an issue with the steel ones, so that's what I went with. That's what we're going to use, and hopefully that lasts, because I think this was the second one I went through. So forgive me, I did have to change because today is a new day. I ran out of light. What we're going to do now is move to the interior. We've got to pull that faceplate off, kind of like you're doing the dash. We did the ID4 motion display. Same concept. We're going to pull all that off. It should be pretty easy. We're actually using a blank switch that comes on the factory dash bezel. That way we try and keep it as minimal as possible and not intrude on the interior and add a bunch of gauges to a bunch of random spots. I like a very OEM plus kind of interior, and that's kind of what I'm going for. I think you'll understand, and I think you'll see when we actually get this done. So what we're going to do is pull this guy off, and then we will have to remove the switches behind the climate control and the audio and start stop. Pretty easy. Just pull forward. There's some plastic clips, and that should come right off. My bad. I forgot that on this car, we actually have to remove the steering console clamshell. 3 bolts, it'll come off, and then we can remove that, and then remove the faceplate. Well, I've once again changed my mind. I think it's going to be easier if we actually drop the steering column itself, so that's 2 bolts. I believe they're 12s. They're either 12s or 14s. We'll drop that. It'll drop the steering wheel, and we should be golden. So the way that this works, pretty easy, pretty simple. Just these 2 push clips. You just squeeze them together. I was actually able to get my hand in there without pulling it all the way apart. So now what we're going to do, take our wideband wires themselves, run it up through here, and then place our gauge right in that spot. And then we'll have a pretty minimal, almost factory-esque pod mount for our AFR and our boost gauge. So what you're going to do is run your wires straight through that cord, or that hole right there. And then we're going to take our gauge pod itself with our gauge in it, right here, run it through that hole that goes through the mount itself. That way all the wires stay concealed, and straight to the back of the gauge. At this point, everything is ran. We will have to tie some things up, make it nice and pretty, but we're going to make sure, try and do this with one hand, that everything still works as it should. Oh, my wipers are on. So we'll wait for this guy to do its heating cycle. And we are good to go. Sweet. The gauge is now in place. I will say it is kind of a little bit of a loose fit. Not terrible, but not the tightest I think it could be. Now that we actually have her mounted in permanent position, take off the plastic wrap. Now we have a nice clear screen for our boost pressures and our AFR. And now we get to take the forbidden spaghetti and put it all back in the bowl, get this tidied up, get this bolted back in, and we'll see just how it looks. I should also probably go ahead and clean the dash. That way we can have it all look pretty and looking good, because right now she's feeling a little sad. She's looking a little sad too, but she needs some love. So, got it all done, put back together. I'm gonna go ahead, wipe everything down. Like I said, she's pretty dirty. She's been a little neglected. We do also need to finish sanding and polishing the car. That way we can get the paint nice and pristine, at least as well as we can. But she is slowly starting to come together. There are some few things that definitely need to be addressed. We need brakes pretty bad. And we need fender liners so debris stops blowing into the cabin of the car itself. That's a pretty big one. So I hope you guys can hear me, at least partially. Kind of testing out the mic setup with the car. It's going to work. Once I get an actual exhaust on here, I'm sure it'll work 10 times better. But I'm really just testing out the gauge, make sure everything works and continues to work throughout the drive. There is one thing I don't love about it so far. I don't hate it, and we can definitely fix it. It vibrates just a little bit back and forth. The fitment isn't super tight on the sides. It's pretty spot on as far as up and down vertical motion goes, but horizontal, it doesn't really sit the best. And I will show you when we get back. But just kind of testing the mic setup out, making sure everything's good here. But I think the car is a little bit too loud for this. So other than that, installation was absolutely perfect. It was pretty easy to do. Didn't take very much time. So now we'll go ahead, turn around. Gauge is functioning perfectly fine. I don't want to blow your eardrum choice. And we'll close out the video there. I am going to go ahead, get some pictures. The lighting is pretty fan-frickin-tastic, so I've got the daytime runnings on. The great thing about this is you might not be able to see me right now, but I can still see you and you can hear me. So, go ahead and just get some pictures real quick before it gets too dark. This green cleans up so good. I just love how subtle it is. And then the daytime running lights are absolutely to die for. And I'll put some pictures in here while I'm talking, just so you guys can see. Well, I would like to thank you all for watching, and sorry for the inconsistency. There's some stuff going on in the background. A new vehicle, maybe, that you guys will see soon. Something that Justice has wanted to do. Will probably be the next video. That's all I'm going to say. But with all that being said, and the video being pretty much over, thank you all for watching. I will catch you next time. Peace out and stay tuned.